Today we're going to talk about ballistics. The last time I talked to you about ballistics, I compared some popular cartridges in the AR-15, and I used book data or data that was on the box from Hornady. That way I had one data set. It was all from the same source because they test the exact same way. Today, I'm going to flip that and give you some anecdotal evidence, meaning it's not super scientifically tested, it's not scientifically tested at all, and it's just observations on my part. What I'm going to be showing you is how I got, or the results that I got from my 6 ARC. It is a 16-inch barrel. My 6.5 Grendel that I used to have was an 18-inch barrel, and my 6.5 Creedmoor, 18-inch barrel, and that's my SIG Cross. And then previous to the 6.5 Creedmoor, I had it chambered in .308 Winchester in a 16-inch barrel. This is not an apples to apples comparison. I know, save it. I don't mean for it to be. I'm not presenting it as that. And so just kind of give you an idea of what I've got going. This is the 6 ARC that I'm shooting right now, 16-inch like I stated. And then this is my 6.5 Creedmoor. And then the data that I derived from reloading for my Grendel and for my .308 comes from the data that I kept at the time. I don't typically throw away data sheets from anything that I've shot in the past, just in case I want to go back to it, or I kept the gun and just kind of closeted it. I don't know what I'm saying, in case I put it away. So we're going to get started. So I'm going to list off the calibers and basically where they come from. First of all, the 6 ARC shooting a 108 grain ELD match out of that 16-inch AR. I'm getting 25-25 muzzle velocity. That's a touch below average. I'm a little higher than that right now. Going back to that, gives me 1,529 feet per second on muzzle energy. I'm gonna say it a couple times in this video. I don't really care about muzzle energy. It's just a factor of speed. So speed kills. That's basically what I'm saying by that. The 6.5 Grendel, the 18-inch, that was the 123 grain ELD match. You'll see a theme here. I like ELD match. I was getting 2475 out of a 18-inch barrel and 1673 on muzzle energy. So right now we already have a clear winner between the two that I've stated. Moving over to the 6.5 Creedmoor with the 140 grain ELD match. It is the 18-inch on the SIG Cross that I just showed you. Muzzle velocity is 2605. Not too bad, but it's 18-inch, so I get it. Muzzle energy was 2109, not was, it is 2109. And then scooting on over to the .308, you will see the exact same muzzle velocity. That's actually the case. So 168 grain ELD match, 16-inch cross, it's 2605, sometimes higher, sometimes lower, but that was the average of all the shooting that I was doing at the time. And it is the clear winner across the board at 2531 on foot-pounds of energy. Moving on from just the raw data there, just the, at the muzzle type of deal. I don't really care about 1 to 400 yards. Pretty much any caliber can do what you need it to do between 1 and 400 yards. So we're going to look at what these calibers can do starting at 500 yards. So that's where the ARC is at 1785 with 765 foot-pounds of energy. The Grendel is at 1705, so lagging behind again, with 794 foot-pounds of energy, just a little bit more than the ARC, but that really doesn't matter. We're already kind of below the threshold on speed. Keep in mind those are sea level numbers, and we'll get to elevation later. The Creedmoor out of the Cross, I've got it 1971, and as you can already see it before I even state it, it's the fastest right now, with a energy rating of 1,209 foot-pounds, while the .308 is lagging just ever so slightly behind at 1834 feet per second and 1,255 foot-pounds. That mass that's moving makes up for the lack of speed. Whatever, it's a number. Take it for what it's worth. Some of you have a higher value on that than I do. It's fine. I don't try to talk people out of their opinions. What becomes interesting now is the 500-yard drop. As you can see across the board, 12.2 MOA. I'm just going to read the mils. I think in mils. I don't think in MOA because, being in the military, that's all we used. But 3.6 mils, and if you need MOA, sorry, it's on there. 3.6 MOA, or mils, here I go again, in the ARC, 3.8 for the Grendel, 3.1 for the SIG Cross and 6.5, and 3.3 for the .308. So we're just right there. We're not like a huge difference in this. But then the wind starts kicking in, and you'll see here at 500, it's not much. Those numbers will play in better later, but 1.1 for the arc, 1.2 for the Grendel, 0.8 for the Cross and 6.5 Creedmoor, and 1.1 in the 308. Out to 500, it's kind of a crapshoot. As long as you've got the speed, I think you're just fine. It's not going to be a big deal. So let's go ahead and open up the data to the 1,000 yard mark. The arc's got velocity of 1173 with 330 foot-pounds. The Grendel is at 1,093. It is now in last place with 327 foot-pounds. And as you can see now, it's behind in everything. The Creedmoor is 1427 with 633 foot-pounds. And the 308 is 1,197 with 534 foot-pounds, coming in a solid second, while the 6.5 Creedmoor comes in first. We're going to go back over the mills again in drop. 11.5 for the arc, 12.7 for the Grendel, 9.4 for the Creedmoor, and 10.9 for the 308. So I had to re-record this piece. I want to go back over the 10-mile-an-hour winds at 1,000 yards at sea level. The arc's looking at 2.7 mils. The Grendel at 3.1. It's not far off, but it puts it in last place. 2 mils for the 6.5 Creedmoor and 2.7 for the 308. So, you know, still makes a big difference. Imagine missing by a mil at 1,000 yards. That is a long ways. That's off camera here. It's big. And as you can see there, they're color-coded. I should have mentioned that earlier. Green is the winner, yellow is second, orange is third, and red is last. And obviously you can see these categories are bouncing back and forth on who wins and loses. But from here on out, we've got a clear winner. So now we're going to take it to not just the 1,000 yards, but now we're going to take it up to 8,000 feet in elevation. I do that and I gather data like that because I hunt really high up, sometimes up to 12 and 13,000 feet. I'm up above tree line a lot of times, going over saddles, looking for elk and deer and things like that. And it's really important to me, like how is the bullet reacting to the atmospherics? Basically, it's free ballistics. Like, as you can see here, I'm going to open up the velocity. The 6 arc is at 1408 at 1,000 yards at 8,000 feet in elevation. And this is my data. This isn't, I just didn't make this up. Whereas at 1,000 yards at sea level, it was 1173. The Grendel, making up some ground at 1315, but at sea level it was 1093. The Creedmoor is 1641 feet per second, while at sea level it was 1427, and the 308 at 1442 feet per second, when at sea level it was 1197. That's free chicken. That's what we called that in the Army. So it's pretty nice to have. So energy changes, 476 for the arc compared to 330 at sea level, 473 compared to 327, 838 compared to 633. For you guys that do like energy, that's getting close to your, you know, some of y'all's got a basement of 1,000 foot-pounds. I got to have 1,000 foot-pounds to kill an animal. Well, we're getting close to it, so you just back it off a couple hundred yards and you'd be good. And then 776 for the 308 compared to 534. So now let's talk drop, 8,000 feet in elevation at 1,000 yards. 10 mils, so you gain 1.5 mils back on the arc, then 10.8 mils, and you gain almost 2 mils on the Grendel. That's pretty significant. 8.5 mils, you basically gain 1 mil on the the 6.5 Creedmoor. The rifle's indifferent, and 9.4 mils compared to 10.9 on the 308. So like I said, free chicken, man. That's free ballistics. You take it when you can get it, and I like it. All right, so the last category we're going to go over is the 10-mile-an-hour wind reads at 8,000 feet in density altitude, 1,000 yards for all of these. The arc's sitting at 2 mils. Well, at sea level, it was 2.7, so you gained something there. 2.2 for the Grendel, and at sea level, it was 3.1, so not bad, almost a full mil. 2 mils for the 6.5 Creedmoor at 1,000 sea level, but now we're at 1.5 mils at 8,000 feet in elevation. And 1.9 mils for the 308 at 8,000 feet in elevation compared to 2.7. So all in all, not bad. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of, like, people always talk about ballistics and they spew off all this book data stuff and tell you all kinds of information that's generally not true. It's not hard to disprove some of them. Don't get in a, you know, I'm not saying go out and argue with them, but what are they actually getting? Those are my real numbers. If you were to come over my house, please don't. It's kind of weird. I would show you my reloading book. I've got everything in here from, there's my 6.5 Grendel data, burn rates for my powders that I'm using. I've got pages everywhere, and then I've got them separated by calibers, chamber measurements for my SIG Cross. There's 308 data. Next, right behind that's the 6.5 Creedmoor data, 6 ARC and 6.5 Grendel data, all that good stuff. I've got it all right there. I love keeping that information and love seeing how I can improve on the ballistics that I can get out of such a short package. Like I said, right now we got an 18-inch barrel. I'm almost ready to burn that barrel out though, and I'm really thinking about it. Let me know what you would do in the comments. What caliber would you rechamber your SIG Cross? Let me know in the comments what you would rechamber your SIG Cross in. I'm thinking 16-inch, maybe 6 Creedmoor, maybe 6.5 Creedmoor, maybe 6 GT. What would you guys do? Let me know down below. And with that, stay tactical.